on this, we're joined now by Chris Plante, a syndicated radio host of The Chris Plante Show. Leslie Marshall, syndicated radio host of The Leslie Marshall Show, and a Fox News contributor. Great to see you both today.
You too, Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
All right, Leslie, I'll start with you. There have been numerous calls for an independent outside person to look at this special counsel, special prosecutor. If it would set things to rest, if it would clear the Clintons, as they say nothing wrong has been done here, why not?
I don't have a problem with that, quite frankly, except for the fact that I see, like we saw with Benghazi, we're going on 20 now, independent bipartisan investigations that said there's no there's no smoking gun. And I think that we will see the same here. What they're trying to find out, and what Trump obviously is calling for, is shutting them down, is alleging there's some kind of criminal activity. And I just don't see that. First of all, a meeting doesn't even mean quid pro quo, and certainly is not criminal. And like we just heard, there were over 2,000 meetings that the Secretary of State had, and approximately 85 with people who allegedly were donors to the Clinton Foundation. And we don't know that any favors were received, except even if you could say it was a favor, that meeting with the Secretary of State or someone on her staff.
All right, Chris, does Leslie have a point? Because this is what we're hearing from the foundation and the campaign as well, that, hey, despite these emails, there was nothing that crossed the line to illegality.
It stinks. It reeks. It has an awful stench to it. And if it isn't illegal, what the Clintons have been doing for years now while she was Secretary of State, it certainly should be illegal. There is no quid pro quo. Access is quid pro quo. What Muhammad Yunus's foundation in the United States got through USAID in the order of tens of millions of dollars after contributing money to the Clinton Foundation, getting his meeting and having the money circle back through a variety of channels from the U.S. taxpayers to Muhammad Yunus certainly stinks of quid pro quo. Listen, what do you think they were paying for? They were paying for access. They got access. When they get through the door, she's the Wizard of Oz. She can give them a heart and a brain and courage, or she can give them nothing at all. But until we get an independent prosecutor, and nobody trusts Loretta Lynch or even the FBI, and certainly not the White House at this point, to be honest arbiters of these matters, we need an independent outside counsel to track down what happened with the money and the meetings.
Well, Chris, listen, if she can give out hearts and brains, I think we all agree that's a whole new breaking Fox News alert.
Joe Biden could use one.
More on that. Okay, but now brand new polls we want to talk about. The race in North Carolina extremely tight. Both candidates remain unliked overall. We've talked about these unfavorables. Just 34% of North Carolina voters have a favorable opinion of Trump. Clinton doesn't fare much better, with just 36% having a favorable opinion. The findings are similar when it comes to, quote, are they looking out for the little guy? Only 40% say Trump would do a good job at that. 42% say Clinton would do a good job looking out. And that overall poll, Leslie, is within 2 percentage points. What do you think will move this race and that very important state going into Election Day?
I think minorities, specifically African-American voters, and we need to see the exact demographics in the state of North Carolina that Monmouth used, because, as you know, any poll definitely uses different districts, different regions within the state. So I would have to see if the breakdown was heavily African-American. I'd be more concerned as a Democrat, but I'm really not. I would be more concerned if I were a Republican and if I were a supporter of Trump, quite frankly, being that North Carolina, with the exception of President Obama, is pretty evangelical Christian and conservative. He should be doing far better than this within the margin of error, almost a dead heat poll number that we see.
Chris, can he before Election Day?
Well, sure he can. And also, the polls, I think, are a little bit suspect. At least I kind of hope they are this time around. Hillary's very unlikable, and Donald Trump is being slandered and bashed in the media 24/7. I can see why he's not doing well with all of the favors being done to Hillary Clinton by the media. This AP story, AP is the standard bearer for journalism around the world, not just in the United States. And the story has been swept under the rug by a media that's turned it into a story about Donald Trump responding to the AP report rather than covering the story of the AP report itself. It's good to be protected by the mass media and go on Jimmy Kimmel and comedy shows and not hold press conferences and win. But if she's ever forced to answer any questions, it might hurt her.
Well, some folks say it's the running out the clock strategy. So
right.
We'll see. It sounds like there's something to that. Leslie, Chris, great to see you both.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.